undermine the measures that we have carried out. Senior management discovered litany of significant without going through his system. I can understand why she's desperately all over the place from one radio station to the other, because she knows that she's really in hot water.
Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed that 188 Guineans have been listed for deportation by the U.S. as part of a renewed immigration crackdown by the Trump administration. Minister for Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa revealed that Ghana has officially received notice of the developments from the U.S. authorities. He assured that government is engaging with American officials to facilitate a humane and orderly deportation process. Now, this development comes in the wake of a Washington Post report indicating that the U.S. is considering a new round of travel bans, potentially targeting up to 36 countries, an increase from the 19 listed during Trump's first term in office.
In terms of deportation, we have been cooperating with U.S. authorities. We have so far been formally notified of 188 Ghanaians on President Trump's deportation list. Our embassies in New York and Washington have been complying with our counterparts in the United States. And so far, travel certificates are promptly issued once we see the evidence and it's clear that you really are in violation of U.S. law, and they have every right, just as we also have every right to deal with those who are violating our laws, who are in breach of our laws. And you do know that Ghana also every now and then carries out deportations, even prosecute and imprison foreigners who violate our laws. So we know that every country reserves the right to carry out these sanctions in compliance with their law.
Well, the minister as well as urging calm following formal communication from the U.S. government regarding a possible imposition of travel restrictions on Ghana. Now, according to the minister, the U.S. government have raised concerns over Ghana's visa overstay rates, particularly among students, with figures indicating that 21% of Ghanaian students exceed their visa durations, a situation that could trigger sanctions under U.S. immigration policy. Mr. Ablakwa, however, assured the public that government is actively engaging with the U.S. officials to prevent any such ban.
The U.S. authorities have now formally brought to our attention, so it is no longer a leaked report. They informed us that 10 days ago they were informed by the White House on the plans to take an expanded view of the President Trump bans. The challenge we face really relates to overstays, particularly with students, the students who we have been sending abroad. Also students who on their own apply to study in the United States of America. They have formally communicated to us that 21% is the default rate. I would also want to use this opportunity to advise visa applicants to stay within the terms of their visas. Please respect the U.S. immigration laws, respect the immigration laws of all countries. Just as we expect that when nationals of other countries are issued Ghanaian visas, they will comply with the terms.
A number of issues to be explored from the Foreign Affairs Minister's presser yesterday here in Accra. We have been joined now by Dr. Emmanuel Agyabeng, who is an international relations expert. He joins me now via Zoom. Doc, good morning and many thanks for your time on this broadcast. As I mentioned, we are exploring a number of issues: deportation, the U.S. travel ban, and what we can do to avoid all of these. But we have received the indication that indeed some 188 Ghanaians are going to be deported into the country, and the Foreign Affairs Minister is saying that we are looking at humane conditions for their deportation. Between U.S. and Ghana relations, how best can this be solved, and how best can we ensure that our citizens going out there obey U.S. travel policies?
Good morning to your viewers. So from the speech of the minister, you can clearly see that the U.S., the Ghana embassy in U.S., both Washington and the other side, are cooperating in the best possible way to ensure that once the Ghanaian out there is found to be in breach of U.S. immigration law, then we quickly ensure that they are returned here safely and humanely. And that also means that we must put in place structures back home here to ensure that their reintegration to Ghanaian society is as smooth as possible, so that the incentive to return will be minimized. So yes, the best we can do is what we are doing to cooperate with the U.S. to ensure that once our citizens overstay the visa and it is established that they breach U.S. immigration laws, they are safely and orderly returned home and they are reintegrated into Ghanaian society. That may also involve some level of economic help to them to be able to settle here well.
Now, news of considerations of countries for travel ban by the Trump administration. Initially, Ghana, we were safe. We were not thinking beyond the fact that we would be likely to be included. But indeed, as the minister said, if you look at the data, 36 countries, we have 25 being African countries. Of the 25, when you look at the top 5 people that seem to be overstaying in the U.S. per their Department of Homeland Security reports, that's over 5% for Ghana. We are doing around 5.58. Nigeria is doing around 6.72. And so Ghana is around number 5. And then indeed, we are seeing 21% of Ghanaian students who go there and they overstay the terms of their visa. Beyond the advice the minister gave, there is a different condition that the U.S. government was looking at when it comes to verification of even the documents of our citizens when they decide to travel. What steps can we take as a country to fully address this so as we don't suffer any risk by way of the travel ban, business-wise, leisure-wise, entertainment-wise?
So you recognize that the overstay is mainly about student visas, and student visas have become a very convenient way for most people who actually do not intend to get education and return to Ghana to enter other countries. So what should happen is that maybe we have to put in structures to scrutinize those who are intending or purporting to go and study in the U.S. Look at the skill set that we think they ultimately need to acquire in the U.S. to help us here. Because if the course can be, or the program of study can be done in Ghana, I don't see why the scholarship secretariat, because it involves those who are even sponsored by the state, will sponsor somebody to go and do those programs outside. So you have to streamline some of the processes in awarding scholarships to Ghanaians to study out there. For those who are pursuing individual study, the processes of acquiring a national passport and other identity documents to travel to the U.S. have to be streamlined. And then maybe we have to continue a lot of public education to ensure that our citizens are not so bent on entering U.S. at all costs, and even on the visa expire, they intend to stay. So yes, it's a trend that has been gaining grounds in Ghana, where people actually do not intend to return, but then because normal visa processes are quite complicated in terms of the financial demand, then student visa become the easy way out. But let me also say that when you look at the report the U.S. is using for these visa restrictions, there is somehow application of a report that seems to support the general idea of Trump trying to limit immigration to the U.S. because the calculation is based on even those that they cannot confirm that they have exited the U.S. So it's not like they have the percentage is categorical that everybody they have overstayed the visa. Some may have exited, but there's no record of their exit. So it's not a very good report to use. But then, given what the U.S. wants to do, they are using that report. So on our part, we have to be very security conscious. We must strengthen visa passport acquisition processes, ensuring that only true Ghanaians, if I say true Ghanaians, those who have a true Ghanaian national, because there are also so many other West African nationals that are unfortunately using our passports to gain access to countries like that. When passport acquisition in their own countries become very difficult, then they find a way into the Ghanaian system, acquire our passport, and then they are more likely to commit some of these breaches of U.S. immigration law. So there's a lot we can do. Of course, immigration is a matter of, most of the immigration is driven by economics. So if you improve your economic conditions here, and the more young people get jobs here, you may be able to stop them from trying to enter other countries through whatever means they can.
Dr. Ishmael Glover, many thanks for your insights on this matter. He is an international relations expert. Well, some Ghanaians have reacted to the possible travel ban by the U.S. government, and they're saying unfavorable conditions here are contributing to the growing number of Ghanaian students who are staying their visas in the U.S. They are therefore calling for more jobs to be created with favorable policies initiated to cushion the youth. We'll bring you that bite later in a subsequent broadcast, but Child Rights International has called for urgent rehabilitation and justice for the young boy physically assaulted in Ankasa near Elubo in the Western region. The abuse, which was captured in the viral video, occurred on June 18 and sparked nationwide outrage. Child Rights International says preliminary investigation showed the boy took 200 Ghana cedis to buy food out of hunger. 2 individuals, including his grandfather, are in police custody. The case has since been transferred to the 2nd D Police Command. Now, in a statement issued on June 26, the organization, Child Rights International, confirmed the child is in stable condition and has been moved to a children's home. They are working with the police and the boy's father to ensure proper care. Child Rights International is urging the Department of Social Welfare to conduct a psychological assessment and lead a structured rehabilitation process. The Child Rights International is also closely monitoring legal proceedings to ensure justice is duly served. We have the Executive Director for Child Rights International, Bright, up here with me on Zoom. Bright, good morning. Once again, we appreciate your insights on this matter. For you, the spate of the abuse that we are seeing young children go through, for things as little as even seeking some food or trying to be okay, things that their parents were ordinarily supposed to provide for them. How do you, when you hear such news, how does it come off to you?
Well, it gives me a mixed feeling in terms of what children go through and how society appreciates what they go through each and every day, and how they understand how society is able to give them some kind of information in respect to how they should conduct themselves. So it's that kind of feeling that I get when I see that children go to people to beg for food, or they go to people to also take certain amount of money to go and buy food and all that. So it's a kind of it's some way for me in terms of how we make children to understand things from a societal perspective.
Now, in your statement, you do mention the case for social welfare to step in to deal with this matter and provide some level of care for this child. Is our social welfare system in the country broken to have things escalate to this level?
Gradually, we are eroding our social welfare system, and that is what, for me, is where the danger is, because you cannot rule out the fact that some miscreants would always abuse the law, would always take advantage of children. But when you have a very strong social protection system and those who are managing it are very effective, then one, you send a signal to people that children, you cannot just abuse people anyhow. Secondly, when they go through that abuse, there's a system that will rescue them. So we are gradually eroding that kind of concept, and that for me, it is what is giving us the idea that our social welfare system is going down. But for me, as a country, we cannot just towards our economic achievement without looking at our social protection system. It's not possible unless you are coming from a different planet. Because most countries that have been able to achieve their economic indicators, they are able to also achieve their social. They are able to build a very strong social protection system. So it goes hand in hand. So if we really want to ensure that we want to be more effective in terms of we are achieving certain indicators, we should also spend resources to be able to build our social protection system effectively so that people do not just take advantage of the system. And when you have a lot of people in our social protection safety net, the cost of rehabilitating a particular child, it's so expensive that you must always make use of building a very strong social protection system so that when it comes, we are able to deal with it. So we cannot just allow our social protection system to go down. Because if you look at most of the decentralized institutions, social welfare department is one of the decentralized institutions that we've had.
Process so far, and what are you expecting?
You see, the whole issue is being looked at from a criminal point of view, and that is where we also have a little problem with that, because the whole thing that happened to the child is a mix of criminal act and then also issue of social protection. So we expect that for you to have a very effective prosecution, you should be able to largely depend on the social inquiry report that will come from social welfare department. But as we speak, that report is not available, and we wonder how the police is going to handle this particular matter. So we'd have to bring everything on board to ensure that justice is served and served well. If not, a lot of things will go wrong, and before we realize, we will treat this issue as usual. But we expect that social welfare must also come in to make sure that they issue their social inquiry report, and that would also, and definitely I know when it goes to court, the court will demand for a social inquiry report. So we are hoping that when things get to that level, we'll make whatever information that they've gathered, it will help, it will aid in the prosecution process. But what I must say is that the police were very strict in dealing with this particular matter in terms of the arrest and how they were able to locate the perpetrators and all that. So I will give that to them. But in the process of building a case, I think that they should not lose sight of the fact that social welfare needs to play a very critical role. That would also influence the outcome of the case.
Right up here. Many thanks for speaking with us on this broadcast. Let's turn to matters of health, where the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GHOne, has criticized what it calls the unilateral suspension of a key meeting scheduled for Thursday. The meeting was expected to bring together representatives from the government, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, and the GHOne. President of the association, Perpetual Ofori Ampofo, addressed the media earlier in Accra, expressing disappointment over the last-minute cancellation and urging government to act swiftly. The association has given the government until the end of July to implement 4 agreed items out of the 8 collective agreements or risk renewed industrial action.
The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association says it initially called off its planned strike due to the intervention, the rescheduling of the meeting to July 10, 2025, due to the absence of key stakeholders currently out of the country, does not prevent the government from fulfilling its part of the agreement.
Due to this development, the National Council of the Association at its meeting held on 25th June 2025 deliberated extensively on the content of the letter and wishes to state as follows. 1. The strike was suspended in good faith, and is made to further delay the implementation. 3. With the other items, we wish to reiterate our position that we are amenable to their implementation no later than January 2026. 4, we demand that these timelines are clearly captured and signed off at the 10th July 2025 meeting to avoid any ambiguity in the implementation schedule.
The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has called on all nurses and midwives to remain resolute and await further directives from the National Council.
The government has assured the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association that it remains committed to fulfilling its promises and does not intend to disappoint them on their next meeting. Former Deputy Minister of Health Alexander Kwesi-Arquah goal of planting 30 million trees in 2025 under the Tree for Life Reforestation Initiative. Corporate Ghana is stepping up to root its commitment to the soil, literally. Leading the charge is EcoBank Ghana, which has adopted a 2-hectare plantation as part of a long-term sustainability pledge. The move, alongside similar actions by Prudential Bank and others, signals growing corporate alignment with national climate and reforestation goals.
At the heart of Achimota Forest, the seeds of a greener Ghana are being planted, not just in the ground, but in corporate culture. EcoBank Ghana is taking a bold step in the Tree for Life campaign, leading the way with a 2-hectare reforestation project in Dodowa, its biggest commitment to date under the national initiative.
Because the Tree for Life initiative really resonates with our beliefs and our philosophy towards sustainability. Our next step is we are going to Dodowa, and EcoBank is actually planting 2 hectares of trees as part of the afforestation exercise. Our main aim is to ensure that we can contribute creditably towards ensuring that there are 30 million trees grown in Ghana.
But it's not just about planting. EcoBank says sustainability means monitoring, nurturing, and showing leadership by example to pull other financial institutions along.
Our employees are very much involved in volunteering when it comes to sustainability, and therefore we will ensure that our employees themselves are also very interested. But we will get the help of the Commission to ensure that the trees that we plant are not just planted and left. How to take care, how to sustain, how to ensure that these trees grow up and achieve the objective that they are meant for.
Following closely, Prudential Bank has reaffirmed its long-standing partnership with the Forestry Commission. From Achimota to Chipa Forest Reserve, they are planting not just trees, but continuity.
We are partners of Forestry Commission and we support their activities. This year we have made a small generous donation to them to help them maintain the crops. Obviously, we will not be on hand to be nurturing plants. And every year when we do it, we go and then we look at it and we see progress. On the 27th of June, that's next coming Friday, we're going to do it again with our staff, most of them in areas, but for those of us in Accra and the eastern region, we're doing it in Achimota Forest and in the Chipa Forest Reserve.
With more corporate players joining the Tree for Life movement, Ghana's green transformation is gathering strength, rooted in action, nourished by partnerships, and growing for generations to come.
But as a country to make Ghana a key pillar of national development through tourism has seen the country host over 30 delegates from other African countries in Accra for the Younger African Summit. The initiative is aimed at nurturing tourism consciousness among children through technology and cultural exchange. Speaking during the Younger African Summit, Deputy Director
Summit in Accra. The event brought together children from more than 30 African countries to showcase and celebrate the unique culture of their respective nations. Engaging the media during the event, Deputy Director of Marketing at the Ghana Tourism Authority, Kofi Ataka-Krakusi, encouraged schools and parents to embrace technological advancements to involve their children in tourism initiatives. According to him, the industry has undergone a major shift driven by the adoption of digital tools and platforms.
We at the Tourism Authority, the onus lies on us to be able to get the young ones, the educational institutions. Of course, we have the kids in tourism, we have the
So we actually want them to explore by using the technology as a tool to reach to every country.
The event organizers encouraged Ghanaians to use available technology and digital platforms as a key to boost the country's tourism sector.
To the courts now, where state prosecutors have questioned the relevance of a request from lawyers of embattled former National Signals Bureau Director General Kwabena Edubuahen for disclosure of information, including national security documents dating back to 1992. While questioning the basis of the said documents per the request, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai said the relevant evidence that pertains to the case may be disclosed. Acknowledging the importance of disclosures using the practice direction as a guide, the Deputy AG wondered why the court should be flooded with documents that have no relevance to the matter before it. The Deputy AG was opposing to the request from the embattled NSB former DG and three others, Angela J. Boateng, Mildred Donko, and Advantage Solutions, who have been charged for allegedly stealing 49 million Ghana cedis earmarked
to warrants for poverty reduction. No doubt, corruption is a robbery of our collective future. In a recent survey titled Corruption in Ghana, People's Experiences and Views 2022, it was disclosed that a total of about 3 billion Ghana cedis was paid in cash as bribes to public officials in 2021. This amount of bribes, which went into private pockets of individuals, is equivalent to almost 1/3 of the 2021 budget of the Ministry of Education. The report also revealed that young and educated people were most vulnerable to paying bribes to public officials. Furthermore, public sector recruitment is frequently influenced by nepotism and bribery to the extent that 4 out of 10 successful candidates for posts in the public sector use either nepotism, bribery, or both to improve their chances of recruitment into.
It's now time to bring you the latest in our world of business. We begin with the Central Bank of Ghana, where we do understand the bank has reversed its earlier decision to terminate the appointments of nearly 100 personnel recruited last year following growing public attention and after internal discussions. Now, we do understand that the affected staff have been informed that their contracts will no longer be terminated, as earlier communicated. Sources say the decision was taken at a meeting held this week, and the affected staff have been asked to resume work next week. However, the central bank is yet to issue an official statement explaining the reversal, but internal sources say pressure from within an outside institution may have influenced the change in course, and such personnel are expected to resume work. Let's move away from banking and to matters of food security, where the director of the West African Center for Crop Improvement, Professor Eric Irenchi Dankwa, has revealed that the center has successfully trained top talent on the continent and released over 279 improved varieties of seeds. According to him, this achievement has helped prevent brain drain, as students trained by the center would have otherwise left the continent. He made the comments during a day of scientific renaissance of Africa organized by the center at the University of Ghana.
Use the occasion to urge both governmental and non-governmental organizations to partner with the center and provide additional funding to support research and training.
So what we have done over 18 years is to train scientists who can stand their own anywhere in the world, developing improved crop varieties for farmers in real time. Our World Bank project came to an end a few months ago. We are winding up at the end of June. we are looking at a new phase of funding which will allow our scientists to access significant funds for research that can efficiently and effectively develop new crops for farmers all over Africa. Of course,
some students trained by the center shared their experiences with the media after presenting research on specific crops.
So the main focus for the breeding program, one aspect of it, is to focus on developing rice which can be grown in soils which contain high salts.
Our farmers are usually producing under rain-fed. So what we are doing at GHOne is to use innovative technologies and research to make sure that we develop varieties that are well adapted to the drought. So it means that with those varieties, even when there is a little rain, they'll get high yields that can also help them to get their income for survival.
The Wacky Day of Scientific Renaissance of Africa was themed, highlighting the journey from...
Still in business, the executive producer of the Emerge asked...
Let's have that African in us and have that unity and come and understand the value of who we are as African people.
Dr. Angela Harris reiterated that for Africa to truly thrive, its people must believe in their own capabilities, build stronger internal collaborations.
This is time to bring you the latest from the world of sports and the details.
Hi, Emmanuel.
But I don't know what's the...
And we asked the president whether he will reconsider his decision, and he said, well, if given a second thought. Today, he was going to have his press conference, but he has postponed it to Monday. So we don't know what's happening, but we'll certainly get to know in a jiffy.
Thank you.
Now, former Black Queens head coach Mesitego Kwaku has expressed strong confidence in the national women's team ahead of this year's Women's Africa Cup. In football, let's do boxing. And President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Abraham Kota Enikwe, has indicated that he would consider continuing his role as president of GBA if given a second thought. Speaking on the game, he noted his commitment to sport, emphasizing that his decision to step down stems from the letter addressed to him from the National Sports Authority not to hold Congress to select a new president. Football news and Pelican FC, patron of Blue Skies Pelican FC, Ian Nash, has commended the club's resilience and steady performance over the past 9 years in the Division 2 leagues. Despite various challenges, he believes the team has shown great potential. And speaking in an exclusive interview with EIB Sports, Ian Nash emphasized the importance of taking the next step in the club's journey.
I think when I got involved, I wanted to increase their training equipment. I wanted to increase the way they do things to bring in better players. Unfortunately, not last season, the season before, we won the league by 10 clear points, and we got into the promotion playoffs. But as I've said before, it didn't really go our way for certain reasons. So we're back rebuilding again. I want to push to the highest levels. I want us to progress. I just don't want to be...
The National Sports Authority, NSA, in collaboration with Ghana Bulls and World Bulls, officially launched Ghana Bulls on Thursday at the Accra Sports Stadium. The initiative aims to introduce and promote the sport of bowling as an emerging discipline in Ghana. The launch witnessed the presence of distinguished guests, including Brett O'Reilly, who is the president of World Bulls, Sue Beat, James Owen, president of World Power Bulls, and David Hammer. Addressing the gathering, the Director General of the NSA, Yampo for Ankara, emphasized that the introduction of bowls in Ghana seeks to create job opportunities, foster unity, and diversify the country's sports portfolio.
I'm Brett O'Reilly. I'm the World Bowls President, and I'm from New Zealand.
And that does it for sports. My name is Monica Bukai. But let me get to Emmanuel. Do you wish to be in the shoes of Cristiano Ronaldo?
Hallelujah, Christ. Yes.
I love the hallelujah bit.
I mean, you work, you get to a certain level in your career.
Yeah.
Then there's a signing on bonus. That's money. Yeah. More than 70% of my people in Ghana are likely not to see before.
He's the highest paid or earner when it comes to sports, even boxing, arm wrestling, everything that you can think of when it comes to sports.
£1 million every other. It's anyway.
Cristiano Ronaldo, when he coughs, people even pay for it.
I understand even his post on Instagram sometimes sponsored. And
yeah, it's sponsored. His earrings, what have you?
We pray for the same.
I guess your shirt is sponsored. You wish. You wish.
We've got more for you, but please stay with us. Well, on international front, Israel's ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Roy Gillard, has expressed deep concern over Iran's continued pursuit of nuclear capabilities, urging its leadership to prioritize the welfare and prosperity of the Iranian people. Addressing journalists at a press briefing, Ambassador Gillard emphasized the need for regional stability and condemned what he believes are ongoing acts of aggression directed at Israel,
such as Hezbollah and Lebanon, and Hamas in Gaza, both of which Israel considers terrorist organizations. Israel, in turn, views Iran's nuclear ambition and regional influence as existential threats. At a press engagement, Israel's ambassador to Ghana, Roy Gillard, defended Israel's military posture in the Middle East, asserting that deterrence, not escalation, is the key to national survival.
Let me hope, and by this I'd like to conclude, that also the Gaza campaign will be over soon. Our 50 hostages, the 20s that are still alive and the 30s that are not, will be returned to Israel. Hamas will lay down their weapon and will let the decent Palestinians, and there are many decent Palestinians that